Peace, peace, peace. All right, so I got a lot of requests to do videos. Everyone's into the videos now. That's still not something I'm comfortable with, really. It's just that I really don't want to be distracted when doing videos, and if I do them from my iPad, my phone, people are calling me all the time, interrupting the videos, or even now when I'm outside, people are just looking at me and they just want to come over and see what the fuck I'm doing, and I don't want to be bothered. But this is just to address some things that was brought to my attention through Patahudi, Astro Queen, and it was to talk about conceptual astrology and what is that. The conceptual astrology is the astrology of creative visualization. It's a brand of astrology that came out of the School of Cosmophysics. Another brand of astrology that I came out of, and with the teachings that I learned through cosmophysics, I kind of formulated to my own style of astrology and my own brand. Originally I was calling it 361 astrology because 361 represents a spiral and not a circle, and a spiral out of 360 repetitive circles into the next cipher. So then I came up with the idea of conceptual astrology, and the astrology of creative visualization, because I'm an artist. I focus on writing, especially some sci-fi, comics, things of that nature, adventure. That's what I'm really into, And conceptual astrology came about because I wanted to combine what I really loved together. I really love astrology, and I started utilizing it in my everyday life. So it was like obsession, but then I realized I can't call it obsession if I'm applying it throughout my entire life. So it's just a lifestyle at this point. So astrology, aka cosmophysics, the Jeet Kune Do of astrology, it became my lifestyle. Okay, and I wanted to combine what I love most, which I love science fiction. I love writing those concepts. I'm a person who's a gamer. I role play tabletop style. Dungeons and Dragons, Vampire the Masquerade, Cyberpunk 2020, or Shadowrun, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff. Did the tabletops, I also play the video games. I'm 45 this year. I'll be 45 Saturday, actually, my solar return. And I have collected comic books since I was 7 years old. Since the day I was given a bag of comic books, of Conan the Barbarian comic books, of nonstop. And comic books have, pretty much educated me throughout life, and it helped me elevate my life and helped me deal with a lot of stress in my life and stuff like that. So I started to write them. And coming up, I was told that because I was a young black man, writing comic books was not something I could do or benefit from. And if I defied that logic, and then after some setbacks, left it alone, and then I came back to it. And funny that I came back to it after becoming an astrologer. And I realized that this is my passion, this is my love, and I wanted to combine that with astrology. One of the things I started to do was to study astrological archetypes, by Carl Jung. I was pointing that direction because I asked a question to myself: how did my man George Lucas come up with the idea of Star Wars? How did he do that? What I mean? What was his mindset? What put him into that mindset? From those questions, it led me to how the origins of Star Wars put together, and it led me to Joseph Campbell, who George Lucas talked about, and Joseph Campbell talks about Carl Jung a lot, and I was led there. And then finding that Carl Jung was also an astrologer, fascinated me even more. And just reading his work and some other works like Alice Bailey, Esoteric Astrology, and Alan Leo, and some other people, I started to realize the astrological archetypes were actually a lot more powerful than people try to downplay them as, but it couldn't be explained to me. Like, a person couldn't, there was no book, no one could explain to me why Jupiter was Zeus. Why Jupiter is equated to the Greek mythology of Zeus. And I asked myself that question, and no one could tell me that. I could not find the reasons why. And the reasoning behind it did not fit. Like, in an Alex Bailey book, I believe, she talked about people who had Jupiter in their chart, and how how that Jupiter would, where Jupiter was, would show how they exhibit, you know, being like the god Zeus, and, you know, his attitudes and things like that came to the mythology, but not why Jupiter was actually considered, you know, connected to the myth of Zeus. And so, you know, it was Sagittarius, or you know, blah blah blah, or Pisces for that matter, for some of you who use that nomenclature of astrology. So these are a lot of questions that came to my mind, a lot of questions that you know, I thought about, and it could not be answered. And so I went to my mentor, Ra Akul, you know, peace to the God, and we built on him. So one day we were going through this craziness. I was reading this book called Myth Astrology, and the guy was talking about all these different aspects concerning, you know, what connected to these gods. And I felt it, but at the same time, like, yeah, you know, I need some more information where the origins of this comes from. So in kind of like researching that and playing around with that, I was able to pretty much go into those books and start to study a lot of that material and kind of like use it with the craft I was using, different charts I was doing. And so what it led me to asking Raw was about the charts of celebrities and fictional characters, is what we got into eventually after all this studying. I came back to him to ask these questions, and I'm like, hey, you know, shouldn't a story, I was like, you know, as a writer, could not a character that I create have an ascendant or a sun sign? You know, couldn't I give a birth date to a character in my story and use that chart to develop the character and the storyline? You know, or couldn't I can use the chart of when I come up with the idea, and use that chart and use it as a model to write the actual story, or you know the story, or the song, or write the song if it was music I was doing, or whatever creative project or craft I was trying to attempt. The day I thought of it, the chart of the inception of the thought, the birth of the thought, could I use that to actually manifest the idea? And, you know, we talked about it. And I remember the day clearly because Raw got the phone, he was real tired, and he went to sleep. And then he woke up and he said, man, I thought about what you said. And as I woke up, I dreamt about it. And I woke up and I was online. I saw a chart for Harry Potter, you know. And he was like, you know, and it was, you know, we were talking about that. And I went and looked at that chart. And I took the birth time, or the chart of the supposed fictional chart of Harry Potter. And I thought about an idea. What about if I progress this chart and see if it matches the movies? And it did. At least the story ascendant that I used. I progressed the chart to the dates, the debut dates of these movies, and those charts from the ascendant to the 12th house could explain scene by scene those movies. Okay? I think Goblet of Fire was out by then when I first tried to discover this. So I wanted to try that and see if I had discovered something, try that out on other things. And so this methodology went a bunch of different ways. I tried it with ideas for stories. I traded it with artists and see, hey, can you make a song based upon your natal chart or based upon the time you thought of the idea of the song? Either one, you know. I traded that idea with artists, and some artists were able to integrate that conception into their work, like Khalik Scientific, who created the Cosmophysics song, who created an album called Cosmophysics. You know what I mean? He's a cosmophysician himself, you know. And Patah Hudi, who I was giving this information to, and there's a lot of artists I've talked to out there, I've reached out to try, you know, to emulate this concept within their craft with astrology. And I was on to something big. We haven't seen it in the astrology world at all. You know, and, you know, when I talk about it, most astrologers don't know. A lot that they can grasp what I'm talking about. They try to point to archetypical archetype astrology, but it's not. I've taken what Carl Jung was talking about and taken it to a whole new level. 361 did. So like I said, it's a bit different ways you can do it. So conceptual astrology, the techniques that I use are very unique to my brand of astrology. So, you know, there is the chart of an idea, no matter what the idea is, okay? And you can apply that to your creativity, okay? Then there is there's your chart, your natal chart. So any idea that comes from you comes out of your natal chart anyway. See what I'm saying? So, and you can apply your natal chart to your art. Like, for instance, I'm a Virgo at the ascendant, 16 degrees, Virgo rising, you know, and if I wanted to write, you know, if I was a rapper right now, I'm going to drop an album, you know, I would just like, shit, song number 1, Virgo. I'm going to be talking about business-minded, you know, how, you know, I make moves up in the hood, in the corporate boardroom all at the same time. And then, you know, song 2 is going to be a Libra song, and I'm talking about justice and peace and blah blah blah. It says Jupiter there. I'm talking about how is justice and no peace up, no justice, no peace up in this motherfucker, with the grand jurors acquitting all these fucking racist killer cops and people and shit. You know, that's what it would be about. The third song on the album would be Scorpio, and I'm telling you how I can literally, and it's my third place, so I would tell you how I can literally kill it. You know, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? In the 4th place after that joint, you know, it'd be sad. I tell you, you know, sad would be a big boom, 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 jump, jump. And I tell you just how I rock, you know. And then I would just go on and on, adding in the planetary aspects and placements into the craft, whether it be a song, whether it was I was drawing some art. Let's say if I'm an artist and I'm, boom, I want to be inspired today. I want to just do what the universe is telling me to do. What's on the ascendant? You know what I'm saying? Let's say, for instance, Sag was on the ascendant when I came up with this. So I'm going to start to draw giants, or a plain, a valley with plains and native Indians hunting buffalo on it. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe, you know, I'm doing a picture of a foreign land because I'm an American Moorish black man. So, you know, if I draw about China and about, or if my drawing has a Chinese a motif, that's foreign to me because that's not my you know, my culture, but I'm drawing about that culture, and that's Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? So at this, you know, so that's just giving you, man, it just goes so deep. And like I said, I've been writing about it for years, and people saying, yeah, put this in a book, but everything I'm doing is experimental first. I gotta go out there and test it. A lot of astrologers, they read books, they regurgitate that information. I mean, they even, you know, they pull it in and they flip it back their own style. But the idea of it is that if you can't go out and test this information, you're just speculating. The information can be tested. And if you're testing this information, you're getting even close to the same results over and over again, you're in the right direction. You know, some people, you know, they're not even doing that. They're just talking about what they've read and all the different scholars they've read or come under, and they don't test this information. So, you know, what is it? You know, I believe back in the day, G.I. Joe the commercial used to be G.I. Joe, knowing's half the battle. Well, the other half is application and testing, and you got to go out there and experiment. And that's what separates a cosmophysician from the average astrologer. We go out and test this day to day, all the time. Okay, so you know, so I'm just giving you, you know, that version of it. But where I'm at right now, Scorpio is on the ascendant. You know, while I'm taping this right now, okay. And when I walked out here, I kept seeing a bunch of burgundy cars drive by, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, Scorpio's associated with that color burgundy, you know what I mean? I saw some Scorpio ascendants walk by, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. So, you know, the natural chart reflects life. You dig? And, you know, Scorpio is my 3rd place as a Virgo rising. I decided to do a video about what was asked about me in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? By a Virgo rising and a Scorpio rising. In Virgo, Scorpio are signs of common affinity. And if you have no idea what signs of common affinity is, check out Ra Akul on Facebook, because common affinity is an astrological philosophy that he developed. It's not in the book. And we tested it. Okay, so you'll find out what common affinity is. But basically, a Virgo and a Scorpio told me, had a conversation, said, man, make a video. So I made a video to conversate with you all, to kind of give you an idea where I'm coming from as far as that was concerned. So don't make it what you are. If you're an architect and you got you want to design somebody's house, and they call you, say, I want you to design this house right now. Okay, what time they call you? When you start thinking about this house, what time? What was on the ascendant? Let's just say, for instance, hypothetically, Capricorn was on the ascendant. As an architect, I would think Capricorn was on the ascendant, and the ascendant, or the first house, represents the alfresco, or the exterior, or of the house, or the outside, the outer skin, or how the house is presented, right? First house shit, keywords, blah blah blah, all of that. So I would think that the house should be brick or stone. You dig? Or blah blah blah, concrete foundations in that house, or outside. You see them brick houses, them stone houses outside. Because Capricorn was at the ascendant. You know what I'm saying? Aquarius is in the second place. So I would know that I would know that since Aquarius represents eating. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Aquarius. Aquarius is in the second place, and the second place represents eating. Okay, it also represents support. You know what I mean? So I would think that it'd be a lot of inside wiring going on, a lot of high tech technology going on in that house, especially for the security of the house, because the second place is the place of security as well. And Aquarius is there after Capricorn. So high tech security, cameras, you know what I'm saying, running throughout the house, the ability to when somebody ring the doorbell, open up the door for them, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Just third place is Pisces. So throughout my corridors, my hallways, third place. You know what I'm saying? The passageways through my house, you might see a lot of mermaid decorations, or fish tanks, or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So just around chart, if I was going to, let's say, for instance, what kind of art or craft that people do, if I was going to go ahead and just I wanted to draw, I wanted to do some painting, you know what I mean? And I wanted to sync myself with the universe and bring what is naturally inside of me out in sync with the universe. Then I look on ascendant. So damn, man. Let's go back to my old example, Scorpio is is on the ascendant. Well, where's Scorpio in my chart? Scorpio is in third place. So since I want to draw, I'm gonna draw about communication. Or I'm gonna have two siblings staring deeply into each other's eyes, or I'm gonna have two twins wrapped butt naked in some type of sexual, taboo, right? Sexual taboo embrace. You know what I mean? This is because this is a Virgo rising, third house, not your Virgo rising, my Virgo rising. You know what I'm saying? And then Pluto despises in the Libra. So you know what I'm saying? It goes on and on and on and on. You can add to your creation based on your own chart. And that's just off your own natal. You can do it off your progressions. You can do it from the transit, the natural sky. The natural sky says Scorpio is on the ascendant. Let's draw some Scorpios. Or let's draw a flock of phoenixes. Let's draw a scene with the phoenix. You know what I mean? The Bennu bird. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. Because that's the higher vibration of Scorpio. So, it depends on what you want, how you want to carry, low vibration, high vibration. But you can do it in sync with your natural chart. Or you can do it in sync with the natural sky. All right? So, let's go on and say that you got writer's block, artist block. Not with this technique. You should never have writer's block and artist block, because if you don't know what to write, what to draw, what to create, go to the chart and see what's on the ascendant. The sky will tell you, as above, so below, cosmophysics. It'll help you out. The chart is your tool, is your aid. So, boom, boom, boom. That's another way of looking at it. Well, let's go back a little bit. It's a book that's called Astrology and Writers. Okay, great book, by the way. And I read that too, and everything that I thought of, she verified. The sun is the hero of the story. Mercury is the messenger of the story. You know what I'm saying? Saturn is the bad guy of the story. You know what I'm saying? Mercury is also the servant of the bad guy, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Venus, the love interest. Mars, the conflict. You know, or the person that comes and to bring conflict. You know, and all those keywords. I love the astrology and writing a book. But I take it a little further. And this is where conceptual astrology comes in, or conceptual cosmophysics comes in. You know, for instance, I'll give you an example. If I wanted to do a story right now, Scorpio's on the ascendant. Boom. I know that the sun is in Virgo. Boom. That is Scorpio's 11th place, right? So let's say, for instance, I want to come up with a story off my cuff. Boom. Bam, the story is going to be about a very modest individual or modest female who is struggling how to be out in the social public with friends and network, and struggling with who she truly is, her true self, because the 11th place opposes the 5th place naturally, right? So who she is when she's out in public with her friends and networking organizations, and who she is when she's, you know, in her creative self. And so I'm going to start the story off. So I know that the hero has with the sun being in Virgo, that the hero has an identity crisis, because it opposes the 5th place. You know, the 5th place by cosmophysics, and that would be Pisces in that chart. You get what I'm saying? That would be Pisces in the chart of Scorpio. You get what I'm saying? And I know that, you know, that's the hero is a modest individual, a Virgonian trait. You know what I'm saying? But that's not how the story starts. So the story is going to be about how she deals with love affairs, especially lovers who are very popular amongst her friends. That's the 5th. 11th house axis I'm talking about right there already. Plot line, story, the sun, the story, what it's about, the purpose, the plot, or the hero. Okay, it's the sun. So how I'm going to start this story? Well, Scorpio was at the ascendant when I thought about it. So the first scene is going to be a sex scene. You know what I mean? Damn right. Second scene is going to be talking about, you know, the second scene is the first scene may start off, it's a sex scene, the person is having sex, you know what I'm saying, because the sun is actually in sextile to that particular ascendant or house, you know what I'm saying, that there's an opportunity, the person's like they're going towards an orgasm at this point, and it's going to be a big orgasm, then something happens within the sexual encounter where the orgasm never happened. So there's a big disappointment. So the next scene is going to explain that big disappointment, because big disappointments is going to be the sad. You know what I'm saying? And you'll find out that the reason why she couldn't come to an orgasm, or he couldn't bust it, is because of something moralistic that was going on in their mind and their mental, because that's going to be the Sag in the second place. A portion of the scene, and then we're going to go on to the third, of course, Capricorn, and the third, that person has a serious talk with the person they were making love to or having sex with, and they're gonna really tell them what's on their mind and why they couldn't, or wouldn't, or shouldn't. And I'm gonna roll that entire wheel. I'm gonna write each scene based upon the aspects of that wheel all the way around. So already right there, just the idea gives you, if you're a writer, 12. That's 12 chapters right there, and those chapters can be broken up by three points, deacons, and they can be broken up even further, Dwadasamas. Man, it gets deep. It goes further, and the wheel spins and spins and spins. You spin that wheel. You know, that's one way of doing it. Now, when people ask me, man, how you come to all these ideas of, you know, the concepts, you know, I talked about the gangster, I talked about the priest, I talk about the mothers, I talk about fathers, I talk about warriors, I talk about heroes, you know, these archetypes. What I did with the Jungian archetypes, and I say I took Jungian astrology a little bit further, so I began a technique called opening the lotus. Peace to Sonya Burrell, my wifey, who came me the idea of opening the lotus, the name for it. Opening the lotus is when you take an idea, a motif, a subject matter, and it becomes the point of view, ironically the first sign or the ascendant, and you read that motif, that idea, sign by sign, house by house. It'll give you a deeper quality standing on why certain motifs, on why certain ideas on why certain even stereotypes manifest the way they do in the conscious collective. I don't like saying the unconscious collective. I think we're conscious. You know what I mean? But in the collective, why? So, for example, I like to give this one all the time. You know, children. Children are nominally associated with the sign Leo. Okay? Children, we love them. And contrary to what people say, love, unadulterated, indisputable love, real love is Leo, the heart. Okay? And children, you love them to death, man. And that's the first house of what they get from people and what they give off when the moment they're born. Love. You know what I mean? And then the second house of Leo happens to be Virgo. And children, man, you just can't feed them, second house, anything. Most of us are trained or seem to feed our children a particular way. Virgo is particular. All right, and for a lot of us, grains and cereals and Virgo-oriented food. You know what I mean? And in Virgo, being an earth sign is connected to milk. All right, and we know our babies. We want to give them milk. We want to give them formula. We want to give them, you know, nuts and berries or crushed up nuts and berries and all that kind of stuff. All the stuff that's Virgo. You know, we want to give them cereal or barley or wheat. You know what I mean? Blah blah blah. You know. And we try to teach our children a particular set of moral standards while they're very, very young. You know, something that's very modest for children to handle, which I think expresses why Virgo is in the second place of Leo, dealing with the ideology or the motif of children. And now, children communicate. Leo communicates through Libra. Children communicate through relating. Any doctor will tell you that. A child communicates about how they relate and how the people around them relate to them. Okay? And they communicate mostly with those who are their closest and they trust the most. Their closest companions is who they communicate with easily. It's Libra in third place. Okay? And we try to talk to our children a little balance, give them a little jibba 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 and a little adult talk all at the same time. So it's the oscillation, which is Libra, in the third place when we're dealing with children. Okay, the fourth place. One of the #1 killer for children, actually, I found out, is crib death. Take that. It's crib death and death in the homes. So most children, when they're born and have a little life and they die early in their life, these things take place in the home. Scorpio in the fourth place. And children are transformed from their upbringing, from their parenting. This evolves the child. You know what I mean? So then we go to the fifth place. Children, which would be sad. Children love to jump up and down. Jump, jump, jump. The motherfuckers can't stop. They play too much. Sagittarius is the fifth place. Play too much, right? A child will play from sun up to sundown. You know it. I know my son do it. Boy, won't ever go to sleep. All right, so you know, and Sag in the fifth place, you know, children, they love, where you going? I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm trying to go somewhere. You know what I mean? So I'm just giving you little snippets of that, you know. You know, they love to jump up and down, play and run and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you have that sentiment, you know. And then every day you got to give them Capricorn. Every day you got to give them some structure, some discipline. And that's how they learn. And that's how they organize themselves. That's how they train themselves. Because Capricorn, you know, the disciplinary person or the disciplinary regiment or the father, you know, got to get up on them, you know, hey, every day, get on that pot. Every day, hey, don't do that. Hey, do it like this, you know. So you have that, it's Capricorn, right? So then you would have Aquarius in the seventh place, and children, you know, get around their friends, start acting wild. And Sagittarius is the place of wild surprise. They start acting wild, doing some surprising shit when they get around their friends. You know what I mean? And when they get in a group of other children, you know, they can get really out of pocket, you know. But children also function well in groups as well. Most children, not all. I know we got autistic children, some children who just aren't built that way, but we're just talking about as generalities here, okay? We're also talking about the fact that children really learn. It's like they get epiphanies of enlightenment when they get around other kids or in groups of people. They all of a sudden, where did he learn that from? Right? Where'd she learn that from? So, and I give a more in-depth analysis of this on my page on Facebook, on my Reese Cool page, which is actually Reese the Astro Conceptualist, but because of haters, yes, haters, Daryl Bowie to be exact, reported me to Facebook saying that wasn't my real name. I had to put a last name in order to reactivate the account, but that account is really focused on astrology only. It's not focused on my political ideologies or my personal views, just strictly conceptual astrology. In there, I opened the lotus on children a little bit more deeper. If you want to take a look at it, send the pictures on the Leo open the lotus. Okay, so you know, if you go into the 8th house, you know, after after Aquarius, you have Pisces in the 8th place, and crib death. Pisces in 8th, crib death. You know what I'm saying? Dying in their sleep, dying from sickness and colds and sickness. That's a real big that's a real big thing, and you know, their immune system having issues. You know that's why it's so big to take care of a child, make sure they get all their vitamins, all their whatever, healthy, all that. So, you know, and it's a tragedy when a child dies, which is Pisces in the 8th place is real tragedy. So, you know, we go from the 8th place to the 9th place, where how children benefit universally, generally, you know, that is Aries in the 9th place. And they benefit from activity. They benefit from going outside and playing, having lots of activity, lots of positive activity. Aries in that 9th, you know what I'm saying? They benefit, and children, really benefit from a lot of one-on-one attention. Aries in the 9th place, okay? So, you know, we can go to the 10th place. Taurus in the 10th. You be like, well, how children known for Taurus? Well, you got to feed them motherfuckers, don't you? You got to pay for them motherfuckers, and you're responsible for them. And the 10th place is a place of responsibility. The natural cusp and sign of the 10th place is Capricorn. So I don't care what signs in there, it's going to be Capricorn-ish. So, you know, it's a responsibility, and is a part of the 10th place. Stress is a part of the 10th place. Obstacles in life you have to overcome to be successful. It's the 10th place. And children have Taurus there. And so they have to be fed properly. They have to be taken care of properly. They have to be taught morals properly. They have to be, you know, monetarily, you have to be monetarily responsible for children. That's 10th place all day, especially fathers. This is why fathers get a serious break when they don't come up with their bread for them children. You know what I'm saying? All right, Taurus in the 10th place is child support. So look, the 11th place of friends and organizations and stuff like